Hello and welcome to Thought for the Day for today, Tuesday, the 19th of April. I'm Andrew and I'm going to be talking about a passage from Exodus chapter 12. It starts at verse 14, but I'm going to omit about 3 verses in the middle because it's quite a long passage. And it's about the instructions given to the Israelites for how to celebrate two festivals, that of unleavened bread and the Passover. They're often sort of lumped together because they're quite similar and they share a number of common features, and they occur at the same time of year. And the passage starts at verse 14 and goes like this. This is a day you are to commemorate. For the generations to come, you shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day, remove the yeast from your houses. Eat nothing made with yeast. Wherever you live, you must eat unleavened bread. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop. Dip it into the blood in the basin and put some of the blood on the top and on both sides of the door frame. None of you shall go out of the door of your house until morning. When the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on the top and sides of the door frame, and will pass over that doorway, and he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised, observe this ceremony. And when your children ask you, What does this ceremony mean to you? Then tell them, It is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt and spared our homes when he struck down the Egyptians. Then the people bowed down and worshipped, and the Israelites did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on the throne, to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of all the livestock as well. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was loud wailing in Egypt, for there was not a house without someone dead. I started writing this on Good Friday, having been to Froyle's celebration of the Passover the previous evening. So the words and symbolism of the ceremony were fresh in my mind. The unleavened bread, or the matzo as it's called, the bitter herbs, or hyssop, the lamb, the blood on the lintel. But as the children asked their parents at the start of the ceremony, what is the meaning of it all? Well, by the time this thought is on the air, Easter will be just behind us, so we will have been reminded how closely the Passover prefigures Christ's death and resurrection in the New Testament. An innocent is being killed, and by some profound spiritual process, the community of the faithful are saved. Death passes by, and we are unharmed. In the Christian gospel, Christ has made the sacrifice. There is now no need to kill a lamb. We don't need another sacrifice. Christ's blood has been shed once, and that is enough for eternity. We don't need to eat the flesh of a lamb. We just remember Christ's flesh in the bread of communion. We don't need the blood of a lamb. All we need to do is remember the shedding of Christ's blood when we take wine in communion. We don't need to mark our gateposts to be safe. It is enough to have Christ in our hearts. With Christ's heart in ours, the devil loses his grip on us and passes by. But what else? I think there are several other passages in the Passover ceremony which are just as relevant for us today as they were to the Jewish people 3,000 years ago. How is the Passover or the Feast of Unleavened Bread celebrated? Well, the instructions in this chapter of Exodus are that fathers lead their family in remembrance, answering their children's questions and instructing them in the tradition. So perhaps there's a model for us all there, for parents to lead their families and instill in them a respect for their history and heritage. Families are told to remove all yeast from their homes and eat the bread unleavened. This is an odd command to us, but apparently in Old Testament times, yeast was thought as something unclean. Perhaps it's associated with rotting or decaying food. It's something from outside which can affect a whole dish or drink and cause it to ferment. So removing yeast from the home signifies cleansing, ensuring that our lives are pure and clean. Also, if you're planning to leave in a hurry, as the Israelites expected to, there would be no time to wait for the bread to rise before it's cooked. And risen bread is bulky. Better to take plain, flat bread, which cooks quickly and takes up little space. So perhaps it means we should have little baggage in our lives, be ready to travel lightly. Finally, the people of Israel are told to wear their cloaks, their belts, and their shoes. In other words, to be ready to leave, prepared to go at any moment. In some traditions, I believe, the Passover is eaten standing up, although I can't find any reference to support this. Whatever, the message is clear. Like the brides with their lamps in the New Testament, we should be prepared, ready to go where we're called without delay. So now, after Passover and Easter, let us celebrate. Perhaps in the words of the hymn, we are ransomed, healed, restored, forgiven. We need not fear the power of evil and should be ready to go whenever we are called. And the hymn ends, "Who like we his praise should sing." So have a joyful and praise-filled day.